Well, hello there. And as the Spanish would say, bienvenidos a Miami. You know that song, of course, from the 1990s, but I am old, but I also have a more modern musical gusto, which means I will now, before talking too much, present you with another musical note connected to Miami, but with Cuban origin. Well, for the Spanish speakers among you, it's a very amusing, very funny song. For the time being, that's all about that. Now, I'll have a quick look into Discord on the mobile. Now here, the volume is a little bit low. Ah, that's better. So, the crocodile circuit sees Max Duca in front after the first outing, but not yet everyone has made a shot. Headjet has been disconnected, the Heats is going out on Inters, very interesting choice. Well, after his spectacular showing in Canada, he might be up for a last to first challenge, and the chances frankly have never been better, because we are looking at a depleted field of 15. Well, 15 over 5 missing over 26 races is not too much. It lowers the potential average by 0.192307692 participants, but still, season 3 is still looking quite record-like for ARL. Now, speaking of records, Danny has not manifested a record lap, but he's within the 7% of Max Duca's time. But we have Headjet being on grey. There was something about this connection in general chat. He appears unhappy, but the race is long, the circuit is narrow, the walls are very present and not too protected, as you can see. This here we are on the back straight, the one where I believe in front of the original race the people were warned that there might be iguanas falling down from the trees if it gets too cold. As far as I know, it has never happened, or at least not in an F1 session. But, well, this being the game, I think it won't happen. Now, Matt Pryor and Brizin on a mission for, what would you call it? It's not really revenge, it's not really reshuffle either. Let's just call it mission improvement for what is the Alpine team. Because, as you know, the Monaco race in combination of the two cars was less than half a lap in length. Here we are, first DRS zone, before we get into the narrow section. Here, well, some would have called it a Mickey Mouse section, but, well, It's technical and you can gain or lose a lot of time, as always in these slow corners. Now, as you notice, this time I'm not looking at the onboards, I'm looking from the outside, because our normal streamer is back, but unfortunately his microphone is not yet working, so it will be me, myself and I talking, but provided for the outside with pictures. Now, the circuit, if you turn the minimap around 180 degrees, you get the crocodile face with open mouth. I like that analogy because, well, as you can say, it's a hungry circuit. It looks like a hungry crocodile, and it is a hungry circuit. I remember myself in my first ARL race. I started from P2. I was very ambitious, and in fact way too ambitious, and in the first corner ruined and made more dynamic several races, but it happens. This corner here, where Rikkert just went through, it reminds me a lot of the last corner in Sector 2 in Sepang. It's just not the same way around. This one is a left-hander, one is a right-hander, but they have the similar characteristic that you get into the corner very fast, you need to slow down during the corner, and then as soon as the end of the corner is approaching, you have to step on the gas, but you almost never get it entirely right. One of these corners which you cannot really drive fully fulfillingly. If you do too much, you spin. If you do too little, you lose time. One of those corners where perfectionists never get happy. But speaking of happiness, the Alfa Romeo team boss has a lot of reason for that, because he's looking at a double lead and Rikkert is not continuing his second attack. Now, I have not yet had the opportunity to look at the weather. When you look at an overcast qualifying, but we do not yet know what that holds on for the race. Prison hasn't set a lap yet, but I believe that must have more to do with track limits. That was a very wide line from Lucas. Yeah, this hairpin at the end of the backstretch is also very difficult. In reality, it had similarities with Canada 2007-2008, when the asphalt wasn't exactly delivering the grip people hoped. It was even close to breaking up. Matsuka has improved, only 300 behind his teammate. And this is not... Oh, it's impressive that this first sector of Senna was not invalidated, because he was very much inside, but apparently the game saw something I didn't. Or maybe he was not in the throttle at that time, although it really sounded like. Here we had spins from Ocon and Sainz in the early year in 2022, and Prison is ending his lap and going from 0 to hero. 13 thousandths ahead of Senna, 39 thousandths ahead of Max Duca. Qualifying is almost as tight as Jerez 1997, when the first four were within 58 thousandths of a second. But of course no one remembers number 4, Damon Hill, except a few weirdos like me, because we remember that Villeneuve, Schumacher and Frentzen all had the same pole time. Speaking of pole time, that is not what the Heats is gonna achieve yet. His front wing is damaged, he let somebody through, and he will head for the pits with how many minutes left? I do not currently see. Just under 5 minutes left, that should be easy enough. But still, he might try a last first challenge, never know. Also the pit entry, they exaggerated a bit what Sao Paulo had started. Sao Paulo had integrated a fast chicane, and they integrated also a chicane, but it's a bit on the too tight side for really a fast entry, which of course is technically speaking the motivation, but it just looks a little clumsy. Of course, when it comes to Miami and looks are everything, but you might remember the funny story of the corner that Pan Cadillac just came around. Not only that it has similarities to the one in Malaysia, but it actually has a fake port on its inside, a fake yacht port. Well, fake it till you make it, as they say in the United States. And this manifests in various ways. What also manifests in Miami, where I have been exactly 11 years ago, is a lot of Spanish speaking. Now Miami, and that is a little connection to the music I played before, Miami is the #1 destination of the Cubans arriving in the United States. Now here it becomes a little bit international, political, historical, but I mean, why not? Nothing has changed amongst the front three, except that Pan Cadillac has now made it almost as tight as Jerez 1997, so 4 1/10, but the lap time is longer than in Jerez 1997. Jerez 1997 the lap time was 1:21.072, whereas here it's 6.6 seconds more. So in percentages, this might even be tighter than Jerez 1997. So then, I was about to say, yes, Cuba is not far away from Miami and not far away from the state of Florida as such. More from Miami than of Key West, of course. Down in the island of Key West, there is the most southwest point of the most southeast point of the United States, and that is only about 150 kilometers or 93 to 94 miles away from the closest place in Cuba. And they had a special law that if someone Cuban arrives in Florida or in Miami or in the United States with was it wet feet or dry feet, I'm not quite sure anymore, they had automatically asylum, and well, of course, also families kind of recalled their family members and sponsored them trips in many possible ways to get to Miami. So, se habla español en Miami, pero no se habla el español de España. Se habla en el español de Cuba, que es un poquitico diferente. Los cubanos hablan un poquitico como los chinos. The Cubans, they are very hungry, so they eat some letters, so they don't speak same Spanish, although they write the same Spanish as the people from Spain. So much for Barcelona. So I do not have any Cuban commentary of F1 on record. I do not know how they would do it, but I can imagine from personal experience how it would sound, but nevertheless. Entonces, vamos a ver un poquitico cómo hacen al requebola. Entonces, que encanta mi gente. Ay, pero no me encanta ver una pantalla negra aquí. No te preocupes, señor, todo está bien. Sí, aquí está la imagen. Entonces, Prison, su primer pole position. 8 segundos. Todos, casi todos en una vuelta rápida. El Ferrari el primo y el Ferrari el último. Tenemos un sexto. Esto no es rojo, esto es violeta. ¿Pero de quién? Vlasov. Interesante. Entonces la última curva muy importante. Vamos a ver. No demasiado tracción. Y Vlasov en P5. Entonces, Ferrari 1 abandonado. Mercedes, Lucas, muchas calificaciones buenas. Y no, P7. Rikkert. Un poquitico de adelante de Vlasov. El Red Bull de The Heat, ¿no? Y Lucas. Hemos hablado de Lucas. Max Lucas, solo 17 milésimos. No sabemos. Max Lucas siempre el hombre de las palabras tímidos adelante de la carrera, pero después está performando. Dani, nada nuevo. Y entonces esto es el grid de Miami. Bueno. As I have said, in Miami they speak more Spanish than English. And they speak a very special Spanish. But for the race we go back to international. But don't worry, if you learn a bit of Spanish you can decipher it all. Now the Heats has stayed with his interesting tire gamble and he has managed to stay within, what is it? 87.5, 5.3, that's about 6.116%. So he has stayed within 107% of the pole sitter on an intermediate tire. That sounds promising for the race. As usual, we have no formation lap. But I'll have a little look. Into the Twitch streams on my mobile to see if I find out anything about the weather. Milan is currently in the settings. What's the weather looking like? I don't see it yet. There we go. It is overcast and potentially sunny but dry. So either we are looking either at medium hard or at hard medium, or of course a late stint on softs. Even with 15 people there might still be safety cars. Now, and here we go. A Mercedes and an Alfa Romeo in the front row. Haven't had that in a while. Oh, Luis with ambitions on the inside. Careful. The front is through safely. First 4 positions have held. Brizin has not taken advantage of his softs, but is in the middle of hard starters. Oh, that is gonna be... He's gonna have to get a move on. This might otherwise be a throwback, so Max Duca and Lucas better watch out for Brizin. the other way around is between Sam and Danny, but everyone keeps pointing in the right direction. Will that still be the case after the next braking phase? Max Duca very close to Lucas. Is it not yet getting past? Senna and Pankadlek close to each other. Now Pankadlek being attacked by Rikkert through the outside. Oh. Well, that was potentially a warning, but I don't know if he has got to give position back. We'll find out on the straight. If he doesn't, he might get 5 seconds. And we have a change in the lead. Max Duca is trying to take over the lead. Is Lucas attacking back? Well, he's certainly defending the inside from Brizin. Now the question is if Max Duca and Lucas do go together against Brizin, if they have noticed his tire choice, which they should have. And Brizin, how much longer can he wait? Headjet is making progress on the expense of Sam. The heat's starting on hards, taking it easy so far. Slayer starting on mediums in the middle of hard players. And the front three within 4 tenths after one sector in lap 2. Now Brizin, he has to push. He must. But he also cannot avoid to go over the top in the first 2 laps, because otherwise, if he doesn't have any battery left, he doesn't have any DRS left to profit of his tires. This is challenging. He must be biting his virtual nails. Oh! And that is Max Duca's personal favorite, having a look at the back of the field. So... second time back straight. Positions seem static amongst the first 3, but let's see now. We have potential 5 people within DRS of the leaders. We have a potential 6-person DRS train at the moment. But of course, in one sector that might look different again. Max Duca is leading. Well, in accordance with his personal preview to the race, he didn't see that coming. But of course, words and actions, you know. Headjet is trying to get past Vlasov. The tires and the experience should help. And now. Yes, we are definitely a 4 to 5 person DRS train, and now who's gonna lead after that? So I have a strong feeling it won't be Max Duca. Brizin is not yet taking too much battery. Lucas is trying and is passing. Ferrari shooting wide. Oh! Headjet and Vlasov getting very personal. Now, second DRS zone, Brizin must be getting nervous. Now, he must at least try to get past Max Duca, but of course now Max Duca has also DRS and he's got a slipstream from the leader. Brizin looks to have made it, but now he's out of space. He doesn't want to ram Lucas, but he has touched. Oh, there is more touch. Ui, that looks major chaos if that is not a safety car. Oh. And it is not a safety car. Matt Breyer is in. Oh, that is a shame. Just a bit too much of a pile up, but yeah, you could see it build up. And we have Lucas in the lead. Of course, what we don't know right now is in which state the front wings of the persons involved are. Has every front wing that has not gone to the pit lane survived? We have a couple of pit lane visitors. Max Duca fallen from P2 to P8. And Hadley had his expedition before and is on the way back, maybe at the expense of Ferrari, not yet. Sam and the Heats are getting to know each other a bit better. And Lucas has freed himself temporarily of DRS. Although it looks as if Prison is making sure he gets back into the zone. It seems as if the 4 leaders have survived. Ooh! The Heat's almost testing his front wing against the walls. Luca seems to be able to continue. And Prison seems to have stayed within the DRS zone. And Luis is attacking Rikkert, but this is a difficult point. Yeah. The result of running wide is no surprise. And Prison, 8 attempts is too much to make up on a back straight, but he will certainly try to get closer, but he's not yet. Oh well, DRS has just started. 9, 8, 7... And Rikkert is getting closer to Prison, but not trying yet. So, first 3 unchanged. The Heats slowly making progress, getting up to P8 now, ahead of Max Duca, so he has passed him during lap. Here we have this terrible S section. Not quite sure what kind of infrastructure made that necessary, but it's not beautiful to drive and not beautiful to look at, but probably you get a good value for performance when you buy tickets there. The same is true for the hairpin, where Lucas is resisting with all his might the attacks of Prison. Headjet is getting closer to the leaders. Sim has had an adventure in the hairpin. So this is a very dynamic race at the front. Max Duca is dropping back. I think he might have damage, so maybe he's trying to carry out his tires a little bit longer in order to get into some safety car window or higher window, but unfortunately his brilliant starting phase has come to an abrupt end. Next DRS phase. Rikkert passing Prison. Are Prison's tires already starting to complain? It might very well be the case. So then, we have 2 of the 3 contenders of Season 2 at the front. Now, by the way, the 3 main contenders of Season 3 are all... well, if you look very closely, you see them in the paddock, because they are partying, and they are streaming the race. One with a new tattoo, the other one with something else on his arm, so it's a good party inside there. And good entertainment for part 2, because Rikkert is not holding back, he's attacking Lucas. Might even get past on the start-finish straight. Indeed he does. And we have our league founder and moderator in the lead. Not a scenario that we've had a lot in Season 3 yet. Aston Martin in the lead. Speaking of Aston Martin, I have not seen his teammate. I have no idea why this is the case. Usually those two were in every single session. But never mind. How long will the Aston Martin lead last? If it's after Lucas, half a lap. And Lewis confirms, and Lewis takes both for 1. Madre mia, it is... yeah, this is ARL, this is fair, this is close, this is brilliant. Yes, this is what we like. And you see, not every touch has to end in spin. And we have Headjet closing in. Now he has the harder tires than risen, but the softer tires than the leaders. So maybe he is on the attack now. How is his battery looking? 60%. Not too low, not too high. Is his front wing surviving that corner? I think it is. Lucas is creating some distance, and the Heats is slowly taking on the pursuit of the leading 5. Lucas has maneuvered himself out of the DRS window of Rikkert. Let's see if he can maintain that over the first sector. Rikkert is trying to not make that happen, but of course it's difficult. I'm not quite sure where the DRS sensor is in the first sector. It might just be at the end of this corner, and it looks as if Lucas has done it and has organized himself some calmness for this straight. Headjet now passing Luis, who a lap ago was looking at the lead. Dynamic stuff. Max Duca meanwhile behind our former streamer in the Ferrari, and oh, this is so tight. And for a bit more dramatic effect we have slight cutoffs, but that's okay. We stay with the general pictures. Lucas is in the lead. Headjet has taken up the pursuit, and Cadillac is trying to move back to front again. And we have Headjet in the lead now, so he must have closed the gap, so he must have... Ah yeah, I see, he has reduced his battery by half during that lap and made a good use of it. Now he's in the lead first time, so a very entertaining race, already almost third through, lap 9 of 29, no safety car yet despite various collisions. And second or maybe even third new leader in one race. And we have a run wide of Cadillac. Not quite sure in what that results. Now, of course, despite the fact that Headjet is a relative newbie to ARL, he is of course no newbie to league racing at all. I've had several years alongside in 100% races, and he's had also 100% races at Miami already, usually in the red cars, but he's doing very well in the dark blue and grey as well. But also he is not getting away. The leaders are all staying within DRS. Now Rikkert is passing Luis and must try to make sure that they... Oh, and we have another collision at the lead. And we have Luis also. Oh, this corner is really taking prisoners today. And we have... What was that? What kind of slide from Lucas was that? Well, at least he survived it. Lucas must have had 2 hot tires in the final sector. Well, as a result, Headjet has the chance to run away. His tires will start to degrade a bit more than the ones of his pursuers, but he's definitely out of the DRS window. A third of the race is gone. And we have 1 retirement. Make that 2. And this safety car couldn't come at a better point for Headjet. So, well, there we have Sim. So it's not been a good moment for the Mercedes. Yes, I've had crashes in this passage as well. Now everybody be careful with your delta. We know the games are a bit moody when it comes to these deltas. So respect the delta. Don't mind about the guy behind. If he has a drive-through and you not, doesn't matter. So, the question is of course, what would you do if you are a hard driver? Do you risk going to mediums? I think you would, because you have 3 laps left behind the safety car, and so I presume everybody will be in. I'm very surprised to see anybody continuing except Danny, who has already been in. Let's put that to the test. Pit, 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 pit. Yes, first 10 in. Matt Pryor has had one prior stop, but didn't notice that amongst all the other action. And now we have the opposite. Headjet is now basically looking at the right tires, but the others are going to have advantage at the restart. Everybody pits except Danny and Matt, who's had a prior stop, as we know, but Matt and Danny's tires, they're not going to make it to the end, so I'm not quite sure what their motivation is. Maybe they thought about track position, but if they did so, it didn't quite add up. P10 and P11, no, it depends on their objectives, of course. Field is already quite bunched up, so we might not have too long of a safety car phase. Normally it's 3 laps. It can be reduced to 2, but technically speaking, this is still the first safety car lap, I believe. Well, I'm going to temporarily introduce you to a new natural instrument. It's called the Swiss nose trumpet. It can be very powerful, but well, it's not particularly beautiful, but I'll be back in full swing by the time this lap ends. Winter is taking its tolls. Coming back from Christmas holidays, I was fit, but not everybody in the office was, and well, fast forward 2.5 weeks and everybody is struggling with something. I call that office virus ping pong. It's probably a game with no winners, but well, there you go. Headjet is collecting more lead laps, and we definitely have safety car longer than 1 lap, although technically it will not have been necessary. There is an Alpine stationary at the end. Matt Pryor has heard my critics, he's pitting. We have 2 retirements, Sam and Jumbo. Not quite sure what happened to Jumbo, maybe he wanted to join the party. Or maybe he was joined by a crocodile, we don't know. Of course, crocodiles themselves are no strangers to the state of Florida. Florida being very well known for its Everglades region, which hosts a lot of crocodiles and alligators. Fascinating creatures. Reptiles. They can cool down a lot, but I think cool down would also be recommended for some of our drivers here. Now we have Headjet and Slayer on the hards, the rest on the medium, so I see very dynamic braking phases at the end of the straights and potentially in other places too, so Headjet will need to be extremely circumspect. But then again, if he would have to let pass too many people, he might fall back too much and not regain it all towards the end and have dirty air. So he must defend his position, but of course at the same time he's got a harder tire. Difficult, but enjoyable. Max Duca still at the back of the field, but at least temporarily, again with an intact front wing. Let's hope this remains the same for most after the restart. Lap 13 is starting. The first sector is not classically one to overtake, so this is good for a bit of field spread. And we do have quite a massive spread between Rikkert and Lucas in P2 and P3, that is surprising. Maybe Lucas decided to take it easy with these tires, although why would he? Rikkert now looking for the lead again, and he has it. But at least this is the only attack that Headjet has to fear on that straight. Of course, the medium runners have to be careful. And we have a soft runner, Matt Breyer. Ooh, 16 laps. Not gonna last. Will be a firework instead, so let's keep him in view as well. Front is stable, but Lucas has closed in, as has the Heats, who is now in P4. And the fastest lap times are tumbling, and we see Lucas trying Headjet and taking the Heats with him, and we have another collision, and the Heats is spun, but I think not damaged. Headjet back on P2, big profit for Rikkert, 2.3 seconds gap. Max Duca having passed Vlasov and Dani. And Rikkert, yes, now he's giving it everything, taking his battery down. Luis looking at Prison, looking ever closer, going on the inside. Will he brake soon enough not to get into contact with Lucas? Just about. Good angle, that one. I like it. And Max Duca working his way up the field. Now behind the former streamer. DRS not yet activated. Only after the finish line. The field is still together, all within 5-6 seconds. And we have this braking zone. Ooh, it is dramatic, and Prison makes it not quite past Luis. Luis gets it back and start finish straight. Now this is the only overtaking spot in sector 1 really, and Luis uses it. But at the same time they're risking losing DRS from the guys ahead. Yes, they have lost it. 2-second interval, whereas Headjet has regained 1-2 seconds that he had previously lost on Rikkert. That's looking very good for him. Lucas remains in good position. The Heats has more work to do than he would like. Headjet, well, he's just outside the DRS, but if he managed to regain that 1 second, he'll regain the last couple of hundreds necessary to get back into the zone for the end of the lap, so it's looking quite good for him. Question is, can Luis, Pankadlek and Prison close the gap? At the moment they seem too busy with each other. Yes, gap is steadily opening, 1.8. And we have Lucas trying to pass Headjet. Will that be another collision or not? Well, at the moment we have no yellow, so it seems to not have happened. And Headjet is back within DRS of Rikkert, so we have a lead trio. And then we have the rest of the train for P4 all within DRS. 2 DRS groups, first, 3 and the rest. Max Duca working his way ahead slowly. Now after the Heats. The Heats observing Prison, Pankadlek, But Pryor at the same time has not yet made the big revolution with his soft tires. Not quite sure why that is. Maybe they were already used, but now he's ooh. I saw the temptation of trying to go in the middle, but it was wise not to do it. What's he doing instead? It's on the inside. And we have a regrettable picture of two Ferraris at the end, but that didn't stay that way. Yeah, Matt Pryor's tires finally giving him some advantage, but Slayer has also lost DRS of his front runners, and he might have had a little bit of a touch with the wall. So now we have 3 groups. Headjet and Lucas side by side. Lucas appearing to pass. Yes, and has passed. Another pass. Knocks Luca on racing. And the heats. He's made 2 places in this lap. Very good. Rikkert has opened the DRS gap again. Dynamic stuff. Dynamic stuff. Well, Miami doesn't seem to be the favorite track of too many of the racers, but the race is very good stuff from the outside. Now will Rikkert manage it this time to keep out of the DRS of the rest? Headjet has managed to haul him in. Will Lucas manage the same? Or will Lucas work for Rikkert? Same engine? Different team? I guess not. Luis is catching Headjet. Let's see if those 2 survive without contact. So now we have a group of 4, another group of 4, and a group of 3, and the 2 Ferraris at the very end. This is the second group of 4, with now 2 Alfa Romeos at the front. Sorry, first group has Alfa Romeo at the back, second group has Alfa Romeo of Max Duca at the front. He's made up half the positions he lost after the earlier collisions. Very nice, but now he's got to survive this braking phase again. He's done that for the first time, but now he's got to close the gap. 1.9 seconds to his teammate. Will his teammate be in a helpful mood? Reasons for doubt are possible. And Rikkert has stayed out, but Lucas is coming closer. Headjet is staying within the window, but it's just about losing it. That's a close call between Lucas and Headjet, so the front is spreading out a bit. Max Duca is not yet close to Luis, but Luis will be attacking Headjet, who has remained within the DRS. The wings of Headjet and Luis look similar. Luis did a nice outbraking job there. Beautiful. The Heat and Pankadlek are engaged. That helps Max Duca a little, but he's not out of their DRS yet, but he's gaining. He's gaining on Headjet. And Lucas and Luis and Headjet are closer together. Let's see how much Headjet can gain on this straight. He might even gain as much as 2 positions. And he does. Indeed. Does he leave enough space? Yes, he does. That might help Max Duca. He's within 1.2 seconds now. A couple of maneuvers more, and we have a group of 4 for second place. Luis avoiding Headjet, Lucas avoiding Luis, and Max Duca within DRS range of Lucas. And Rikkert not getting away. Headjet guiding on Rikkert steadily. It's fascinating. Tire light, strategies are made. It's all about the driving. Max Duca is should be within DRS. Here is the beep. Luis is trying to get P2 on the road. Is he getting it? He is. Just about. At the cost of his battery and at the cost of some grip, as it appears. Beautiful pictures, but it all helps only Rikkert. Max Duca now again on the inside of the heats. The heats must have taken a shortcut or so. So we now have Rikkert 4 seconds ahead. Well, it's about time he won again after season 1. Oh, this is so tight. Did Lucas actually push Luis? Luis is going into the pits. 9 laps to go. Is he going for soft? Has he had damage? Time will tell. Pancadlic also goes in. Have they overestimated the medium tires? What about the medium tires of Rikkert? He's pulling away from Headjet. Has Headjet got any damage? Max Duca has lost the DRS of Lucas again. So very dynamic stuff here. Hardly anything stays the same every lap. Could of course also be that the drivers, because they are not particularly in love with Miami, they underestimated the circuit a bit and didn't make too much exercise laps here and therefore can't quite produce the regular rhythm here. Lucas passed Headjet again, but Rikkert leads by 5 seconds. Of course, I will be nowhere near enough if he had to pit, but I don't think he wants to. Now Headjet, will he try to counter-attack or collect a bit of battery power? If I were him, I would consider collecting a bit of battery power. He seems to do the same. Still irritating Lucas a bit with staying in the mirrors. The two Haas getting quite close. And one Ferrari is in the points because Luis has had the pit stop as well as Pancadlic, but they did not go on the softs. They are on the mediums. Lucas and Headjet again. Ooh. This is all helping Rikkert, of course. Is it maybe after all the two Mercedes engines? Now the heat's having a good look at Max Duca and Brizin, who are still not within the DRS range of Headjet and Lucas. Hardly get a breather. The fight for P2. Might see Headjet pass again. DRS is open. He has not been able to save any battery yet, but he has enough battery and wings left to pass for P2. Gap now 6 seconds to Rikkert. And we can be pretty sure that Lucas will attack back on the straight back, on the back straight. To be confirmed from Brizin's point of view, who was just about within the DRS, if he was at the right point. It would appear so. No. Brizin's wing is closed, but Max Duca's is open, so now Max Duca is ahead of Brizin once again. Headjet stays ahead of Lucas. The two Haas now have my Prior in the middle. Will we have a fastest lap of Pancadlic or Luis soon? They are not far away from the start-finish line. Luis passing Danny, who goes into the pits. No new fastest lap yet, but that might be just because the first flying lap is only starting now. Headjet has recalled 1 second from Rikkert. It was 6, it is now more 5. Certainly the most lead laps of an Aston Martin I can recall in ARL for a very long time. In season 1 Jumbo had Aston Martin and backed a few victories, amongst those I believe in maybe in Austria could be. Few poles along the line too. If only we had such action in real life in F1 in Miami. So far, unfortunately, it was mostly waiting for Super Max to make decisive passes. Oh, and there we have another coming together between Lucas and Headjet. Even more. Oh, that looked not as clean as it might have been, but was the braking error? Was the collision in the braking? Whatever it was, Max Duca and the Heats are now part of it, and Rikkert is even further in the lead. 7 seconds now, and Lucas has had damage. He does not go on a soft tire. That is interesting. There's only 7 laps left. 3/4 of the race have gone. The entertainment has been as A+ as you would expect from Party City. Headjet might just be out of the DRS of Max Duca, which might make Max Duca vulnerable to the heats. Indeed it does. The heats passing for P3 and Rizin waiting in the wings as mostly always. Penalties so far have not had a big influence on top drivers. We have 3 persons with 3 seconds and 1 with additional 5. And now, how will the heats deal with Headjet? We have the tire situation. The longer Headjet is in front, the better for him, because his tires are harder, and if the softer medium tires get warm in his slipstream, they wear faster and Headjet's advantage will multiply. So he must try to stay ahead in the curvy sectors. And we finally have the fastest lap from Luis. Maybe reopening the tradition, but at least this time it comes with some points. At the moment it would be 5 points for P8 in the fastest lap, but that just goes to 7 because he passes Vlasov. So now if he keeps the fastest lap, of course, but we will see that at the end of the race. Now Rikkert meanwhile is having his own private party at the front, and with only 6 laps remaining in the 8.4 seconds, I don't really see him losing 1.4 seconds a lap, so it's becoming a question of concentration for our appreciated founder, moderator and Aston Martin driver. He's not looked that close to a win in a long time. 13 laps on the medium tires. If you look at the others, medium tires with 13 laps, they seem to survive. The car is lighter. It's looking very good for him. What's Headjet's... he's under attack from the heats. He's being passed. At least he can take DRS for the next straight. Will be interesting to see what... 43%. Ooh, there is some impatience. Okay, he does not want to have to even the first sector behind the heats, for reasons already discussed. The more hot air the heats get, the better for Headjet. Max Duca, P4, waiting in the wings. Luis, almost having caught up with his teammate after a pit stop. Interesting. It looked as if you would lose a bit too much time with that pit stop, but it could be just the winning tactics for the podium for Alfa Romeo. Now we have a threesome building up in the braking phase. Headjet and Max Duca on the heats. Headjet passing, Max Duca alongside, but now as the outside of the corner. He stays behind. The heats will probably attack back on the back straight. And Luis has caught his teammate with considerably younger tires. Is that a slide for Max Duca? Does he want to let his teammate pass? Or just the awkward choice of line at the beginning of the back straight? We will never know. The heats on Headjet again. Alfa Romeo team inside. No. No change yet, but can't be much longer. We have a caution flag. The Haas in trouble, and the 2 Alfa Romeo still in the same, and Headjet has to concede, has to give him the position in the first sector. 2 Alfa Romeos have switched positions somewhere in the first sector, and now, please, Luis, be patient. Well, you have DRS anyway, and now you have Headset's position, so will it also be the Heats' position at the end of the lap? He's certainly closing in. Not much battery power left, but the same goes for the Heats. Now Headjet re-attacking Luis. This is good fun, I like it. Might not have been the most spectacular tracks for the real cars, but for the virtual ones. Me gusta, como dicen lo cubano. And me gusta would also say Rikkert is now leading by 9 seconds. He's managed to get out of the mayhem and he's staying there very comfortably. He will hope that all the fights between his pursuers will not cause any further safety car, but the risk is running low because 27 is the last lap. That could be a safety car, and he's already in it. So looking great. Headjet back on the heats with now Luis pursuing, and Luis switching through as well. Not stays out on the tires, stays within the DRS zone of the heats. Luis again trying to be patient or not. He did that dive in on the lap before, he does not do it this time. He's close enough for DRS. So it would be surprising not to see him in P2. But of course his battery is gone. Still he's closing. And Luis passes Headjet. I'm not sure that will last until the end of the lap, but at least it lasts for the tight corners here. Rikkert has lost half a second, but that's of little importance with 2 laps and a bit to go. He has a buffer of 4 seconds a lap. Luis almost made it out of Headjet's DRS window. That's impressive in those little corners. But Headjet will try to keep up the pressure for the last 2 laps, as will the Heat Max Duca, of course. Beautifully tight. Now we have a Red Bull concern intern fight with Max Duca looking how is it going, and no changes in the first corner of the penultimate lap. The last lap but 1. 2 Haas. Information. Still information. Still information. Good stuff. Now, Rikkert looks safe. Luis looks safe. Headjet, not safe. Decidedly not safe. The Heats and Max Duca are upon him. The Heats tries via the outside. Max Duca has a huge slide on the braking. The Heats and Headjet are alongside each other. Brizin is chasing Max Duca. The Heats tries again in the next DRS zone. Max Duca's tires might be a little bit on the old side. Brizin's have the same age, but Cadillacs are younger, so might Cadillac get along Brizin and Max Duca in the last 1.5 laps? Or are we gonna have another couple of collisions in that hairpin here? So far the corner seems to have been survived. And yes, Cadillac gets the first attack. But Brizin fights back, and Cadillac fights back, and Brizin fights back. Beautiful stuff. Luis is setting his tires on fire, but he will not catch Rikkert unless Rikkert makes a mistake. We have an Aston Martin getting close to victory again. And we have Rikkert on his last lap. P3 is up for debate. Could be any of 5 drivers stepping in. Here we see the Matic. Currently Headjet has it. But this is only the foreplay. Even this is only bringing yourself into position. Maybe sneak through somewhere if you have the opportunity, but really important is that back straight with the terrible hairpin at the end. Here it comes. The heats is not as close as it could be to Headjet. Headjet should probably block. Many batteries are dead. And who's gonna survive it? Well, we have a winner. It is Rikkert. We have P2. It's Luis. And well, nothing has changed. We have Headjet in P3, the heats in P4, Max Duca P5. The heats stopped right after the finish line. Hank Hadlek P6, Prison P7, Matt Pryor P8, double points for Alpine and double points for Haas, no points for Lucas and no points for Ferrari. Bueno, este fue Miami. Muchísimas gracias, amigo. Esto fue plan de placer. Y ahora los amigos cubanos y nosotros nos vemos a la fiesta. Let's see at the party. I think we have a few people joining the party. Chris, the baby Drew, already waiting in the wings. Also Rifler. So I think it's gonna be a nice party at the Aston Martin garage. Maybe with a little crocodile or an alligator. We have Luis and we have Headjet's first ARL podium. So yeah, a good evening in the office, a good evening in the studio. This is the final standings. The fastest lap goes to Luis and gives him in total 19 points. And that's about it. Or as the Cubans would say, esto e esto. Thank you very much. Also to the former streamer for his temporary comeback, even though the microphone didn't work yet, but he'll be back in prime shape in no time. Only question left, which one is the next round? Because I feel to remember that the next round might be even a sprint weekend. Yes, indeed, we are looking at Azerbaijan next. So then, as they said in an MTV show at the late 90s that was called Celebrity Deathmatch, good fight, good night. And so I say here, adios.